if you're watching this, you would have just seen on the channel that the TD, this one actually right here, has just been built. There's a whole lot of great content online. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. This episode is not about that though. This episode is all about you guys. I've got Max here, my resident expert, guru, and superior officer. And we're going to be talking about full drive engine builds, factory versus like modified.
Yeah.
You know, I think we can, having owned both standard and modified vehicles, especially four drives, engine-wise, we can talk to this quite well. We asked for you guys, the viewers, a stack of questions, and they've sent through a ridiculous amount. So we're going to brush on that.
Yep.
You were formerly Max from HD, and you're now no longer.
Yeah, so by the time this episode airs, it'll
Yeah.
probably a few months would have passed, I can imagine. But yeah, tomorrow technically is my last day.
Wild.
Yeah, very wild. So on to chase some bigger things, I think.
Mate, he's been chasing baitfish for a while, and it's time to shoot for that
Take
meter
big
long
fish.
barramundi, so I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing a lot more of Max on the channel, I think, which is important to note, because you guys seem to love him, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up for your 105 as well. You guys can wait till the end. We're going to touch more on that, but before we dive into this whole thing, I need to get something off my chest. I was driving, we're down here on the Gold Coast at the moment, worth mentioning. Donnelly Engineering let us stay back, and obviously the engine's here, full use in his shed. Maybe we'll do some machining later just for fun. Something that f***ed me off to go in this week on my drive down to the Gold Coast from the sunny coast was this. I was driving on the motorway, bumper to bumper traffic, standard Bruce Highway. I saw this person have a fender bender, right? Nothing major. Bumper into tow bar situation. Neither car undrivable. You know what they did?
Painted.
Stopped in the middle of the highway, didn't move their cars on the side of the road, and decided to take photos and exchange details there. Move your car off the road, because then you know what the side effect is? 20 kilometers of cluster peak hour traffic, including me getting shafted. So anyway, I had to get that off.
Also, the big double that doesn't see you stop 500 meters up the road will absolutely flatten you.
I mean,
No,
everyone. Like, if you're out of your car in the middle of the highway trying to take photos,
Pull over,
jump back in,
exchange details,
yeah,
be done with it.
go on your way.
Yeah. That actually, I'm glad we're on the same page with that. I often watch
Wow.
dash cam owners Australia.
Oh my god.
And you see a small fender bender,
yeah.
they'll pull over in the middle of the road, get out of the cars, move over.
Actually, it makes my blood boil. I don't know if it's the 400 half this I've had or if I'm just angry, but
It's a very real issue.
it's a serious issue. Let's talk engines.
Yeah, go on.
We have now I've just built another ridiculously modified four drive engine.
I think you would learn your lesson.
You think I would have learned my lesson from the 80 series, but I haven't. And I think one thing that has become apparent to me is that there is two schools of thought. I think you're either in the stock engine equals reliable train of thought, or you're in the I'm making it better than factory, therefore this will be a more reliable vehicle in the long run, we can run more power, that sort of thing. What are your thoughts, basically? You've had every end of the spectrum.
Yeah, so it's a hard one. We've both definitely owned modified vehicles. We've both owned engines that are completely unopened, straight from Toyota, where they got 10 years,
they got it right.
30 years on them, unopened, and we've had engines that are completely built from the ground up. Billet parts, all the extras. At the end of the day, it comes down to what you're using the vehicle for, I think. When these engines came out, I can't imagine people were pushing the crazy numbers out of them that we're hoping for these days. It's 1990, you buy your brand new GQ.
What's the matter, mate?
You don't have a 21L UFI turbo, you don't have 12 pumps for these things. You're not pushing 200, 300 horsepower.
To be fair, you're also not filling them with. You're not putting massive lithium batteries and inverters and 100 litre fridges and all that stuff.
All that kind of stuff.
You're probably fine with an 80 horsepower TB42.
Yeah.
But now, as technology's evolved, as our need for ridiculous shit while camping has evolved as well, I think people want more power.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people have started falling over into the modified lane.
Yeah. And social media, like 20 years ago, you
true.
couldn't film your TD on gate,
How are
pumping
people,
soot up the beach.
how are people going to know you? It's looping it
a
on
dick swing competition, isn't it?
Double Island Point.
Yeah, exactly right.
How are they going to know?
Yeah.
This is true actually. And it is one of those things, it's almost like an Insta-like battle now of who can wind the most into their engine.
Yeah.
But there is like the classic triangle of, was it like cheap, reliable, powerful.
Yeah.
Pick two. Can never have them all. I think that's the trap that people do fall into because I had, you probably remember the Naughty 40, the OG car, was like an unopened HDT with like big pump and a big turbo.
40 pound of boost.
40 pound of boost, and it partied, and it never ever let me down.
RIP.
But it was probably a ticking time bomb realistically because that thing had like 300,000 Ks and was getting abused.
Yeah.
Whereas now, wanting to rebuild something like that, not wanting for that car to let me down in the bush, meant like to build something like this, where it's probably going to make similar sort of power, or at least drive similarly, but at least now we can beat them relentlessly and not stress. But there is a beauty to factory motors too.
This is true.
Because they work.
They work, and you still hear to this day, like, if you're rebuilding an engine, genuine parts are the way to go.
Yeah.
Genuine lasts the longest. You know it's
going to fit. You're not going to have issues. Everything's going to work together. You don't have to modify. Even this thing, you have to modify. I can't even remember. The rocker arm assembly to fit over the ARP nuts.
Yeah,
because it's like everything's larger. So you do end up having to modify all this shit to make it work together, and it is a bit of a head if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're trying to do this at home and you get one little thing wrong, it's chaos. To be fair, some people are happy with their non-turbo TDs and their 1HZs. Like,
They'll probably do 30 years and a million K.
yeah, you don't have to turbo them. You can just putt around. Won't be quick, but
we're also young. We love power. We
Stupid.
love party.
I hate money in my account.
Yeah,
I'd rather
exactly.
spend
I'd rather spend all my money on something I won't get any money back.
yeah, perfect. Dump $100,000 into a car
Yeah.
to make it worth $7,500 on a good day.
I think we're going to look back on it one day. It's all going to be worth it.
No,
No house deposit.
yeah, a financial advisor and broker watching this right now, having
Shaking
a
their head.
full conniption. Let's move on to the questions that we asked the people. So
Yeah.
what I like to do is put up a little bit of a story and tell the folks to ask us a question. Don't mind the stylus. The top half of my screen doesn't work anymore, and I have to use the stylus. It's a whole thing.
You're a man up and get an apple.
It's embarrassing. Android the world. Also, folks, in terms of things that ground my gears this week, have you ever seen a grown man wearing Crocs in not sports mode? Thank you. At least lock your hub. It's a forward drive.
Sitting close to
Podcast
the
anyway.
at the entrance to the
That's
machine
right.
shop.
That's right. Chinese experts. We've got there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We put these up for an hour. How big is Max's? Oh, sorry. That's actually I submitted that question. All right. First one is a classic one.
Yeah.
Where can you find cheap FTEs?
It's hard. You can't. So,
Yeah.
as you guys probably know, the price of FTEs has ridiculously increased through the
Crazy,
moon
crazy.
over the last 5 years. If you were smart, same as JZ's, same as buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
10 years ago, you would have stocked up your shed with 10 FTEs.
Yeah.
You would have
out.
tripled, quadrupled your money.
One of the reasons we went TD for the
Yeah.
GQ, not FTE, is because I picked up two TDs
Yeah,
for
yeah.
$2,000.
And they were both
They're both, but we built it to be better than
the
standard
price you could afford now.
for less than what a standard FTE would have cost.
So half the power. Your best bet is, if you want to gamble, you are going to go to the auctions and get a car that's either been flooded, it's been wrecked, etc.
Outside, yeah.
And it's a big gamble, but you can get them cheap. Second of all is 90-year-old grandfather that's just passed away.
Deceased estate,
He's the state.
drag the corpse off the
Yeah.
seat,
Yeah.
take the engine out, burn the car.
Yep.
It's hard. There are shops out there that just sell FTEs now. Occasionally there are deals, but it's very
You're still looking upwards 10, 15 grand.
yeah, easily. And then you got to put that into it again to get it to perform how you guys are probably thinking. And
gonna
FTE is
perform.
going to perform.
Yeah.
Trust me. That ain't the case. Michael Moore has said, plot twist, Max actually stole the Naughty 40 and I haven't known the whole time.
We'll circle back.
We'll touch on that later. I'm concerned. I'm worried. Turbo or supercharger on a 1FZ?
We haven't done much with superchargers.
No,
As
this
you guys
that's
have
true.
seen, we still hold the record for the most powerful street-driven 1FZ standard displacement, I guess.
Yeah, suck my ass. Next
Series in Australia.
Yeah.
At almost 1100 horsepower.
Yeah.
Superchargers are sick, but you're not going to make 1100 horsepower with supercharger.
No. Very linear power delivery though.
Power delivery. You don't get any turbo does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
Supercharged FZ never going to make the power that one we have, and
Mhm.
probably going to be a little bit more cumbersome to install in a bay. I think because you get weird side mount supercharged.
Would never work for
things.
you with your coil towers.
We had coilover towers. I think a lot of people will have issues on fitting like accessories, dual batteries. Will
I'm
get
not
in the
against
way.
the supercharger setup. It doesn't have to be FZ. I think one day I'd love to like supercharge from Z or something like that.
Yeah,
I think
that'd
that'd be
be
an
hot.
awesome build. But at this point in time, definitely turbocharge FZ.
N70.
Yeah.
1KD.
Yeah.
Engine pointers. Things to look out for. Turbo and injector recommendations. I'm assuming he wants to build something hot.
N70s, they are super popular. Every second bloke, every second B-plater has a
Yeah.
Hilux to look out for. Good maintenance, like any engine. Make sure it's
Yeah.
being maintained,
Yeah.
hasn't been abused. They're usually pretty tough, as most Toyota diesels are. They're going to
Yeah.
last forever if you look after them. If you're modifying them, you want to go to reputable places that don't have something like Chinese injectors or Chinese nozzles. You want genuine Denso
It's only good stuff. Yeah.
injectors
Yeah.
and nozzles. And if you're upgrading, there's a few great turbos on the market, like Flex turbos, PKS turbos.
Yeah.
They're actually designed for things like 1KDs, full
Yeah.
etc.
G42 1450.
Exactly.
Compound
Don't
turbo
just
setup.
slap a pulsar on because your mate said that's way forward.
I feel victimized
Yeah.
and attacked, and I'm not enjoying it. The next one's actually a good one, and this is probably a question that you're going to have to lead into
Yeah.
the plans for your car.
Yeah.
And that is from, is Max's 105 a tourer or built for the tough stuff, or a bit of both?
It's a bit of both. However, I haven't had the time, the money, or I guess anyone to come with me for that fact. that has a reliable car to actually do some of the tougher tracks. It's technically built for some of the harder stuff. Like it's got the long arm full complete suspension kits underneath it. We've got some lockers going into it. At some point, it's got bar work all around it. But I want something reliable that we can tour. Like we've got some trips planned, especially once your GQ's done. And I want this thing to be able to travel around Australia reliably and get me from A to B while also doing the tracks in between.
I think it's finding the balance between being able to drive sort of anything, but also being able to do it reliably and comfortably and safely. I think you have to have a decent amount of power, just makes it nice to cruise around in. Bit of a touring setup, but keeping it lightweight, having full suspension setup as well. We're helping Maxi out with some lockers, some rear bar work and stuff, which you guys are going to see in episodes coming up. It's very keen. Actually, I reckon by the time this comes out, they probably would have already seen the bar work episode potentially. So we've got a really cool rear bar going on Max's car, which is sick. I'm very excited. We've got another question. How much was the 80 build?
We touched on that.
We have touched on that. We had a whole episode.
That was extravagant.
Ridiculous. That's why I tell people do not do what we did, because it's so stupid. I think about a year ago, we were at 250, 260 grand. Since then, it has copped new injectors, retune, another full set of coil packs. It's on its third set of injectors, a new diff, custom tail shaft. What else? New rims,
stuff like that.
Head unit, reverse camera. We're probably another 15 grand into it. So it'd be creeping up towards 300 grand. And I'm left with a 1992 80 series. So, win some, you lose some. The last one is from my boy Kyle at Blue Flame, and he has asked, would you rather build a spicy RD28 or a DIZD 30 grenade?
I don't have a huge amount of experience with either, but I'm thinking ZD. It's a newer engine, they make more power. They're more reliable, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. I think if you do like the anti-grenade sort to a ZD, they can be good. I mean, you look at the boys over at Bushdorf in WA. Savan had like a 450 horsepower compound turbo ZD running stock internals for years. That thing was a weapon. I'm not seeing an RD28 do that.
Not at all. There's a reason people aren't storing them into cars.
Correct. The RD28, 6-cylinder, sounds sick, just never going to have the power. There's the saying, always late in 2.8. It's just the way it is. Dream car. This is a question from me. Dream build right now, what is it?
I don't want to say I've done it. When I started my car build, I'd say that would have been my dream build because I love camping, I love getting out, I love doing tracks. And as people know, like the 105 chassis, the 100 series turbo diesel engine, that package together is a perfect combination.
Almost as good as a turbo Z80.
Almost as good and reliable as a 1000 That would be, I think my current car is my dream full drive build. As for street driven cars, not really into them that much. What about you?
I think I have wanted for a long time, wanted to do like not a replica, but I wanted to do like a nostalgia build. My first ever four-wheel drive that got me into this whole thing was like a 60 series.
Yeah, that's right.
3F carb.
It's a Safari high top or something?
No, it was a low top, but it was the FJ62, so it was the 4 square headlights. It was the real late one, just before they went to the 80 series. I really want to do another one of those, whether it's just like a resto and it's just like, chrome hubcaps, stock standard factory sort of finish, or historic retro, just like real sick. Or 80 series diffs, 1,000 horsepower. Absolutely. And turn it into a rig. But yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. It's just sort of finding the time and the money to balance building the 80 series, the 79, the Jeep,
owning multiple cars,
helping you out, and buying another car. But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Do we want to talk about what's next for you?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. So there's not really too much surrounding that subject to talk about. I'm just going to take it easy for a little bit and kind of see what happens. Obviously, I've got a bit of stuff coming out with you in terms of car builds and filming, but I'm not rushing to anything. I spent a good part of 4 or 5 years, 9 to 5, 8 to 5 every day.
Working for the man.
It'll
be nice to break free. I think I think the people are going to be very excited to see you on this little channel of ours. Way more, build some cars, get you in there. We've got a shed now. That's kind of
sick. Very exciting.
But all for the first time, we've got a hub for projects where if something is getting absolutely carried away, you can sit there on jack stands and not be in someone's way and not someone else, not taking up a hoist in the workshop that could be churning over money. So that's really cool. We're going to hopefully fit that out with tools, get some lighting, some PowerPoints in there this weekend. Well and truly done by the time this is aired. And that is going to be our little base new crack den up here in Queensland. So
not my driveway.
Not your driveway, not HD's hoist, not Blue Flame's driveway.
Not your crack den in Sydney.
Not my crack den in Sydney, not Mum's place. Finally have our own space. So that is going to be very, very exciting. I think that pretty much brings us to the end of everything we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Bit of a life update. Wanted to help you guys out with some information on engines, a little bit of, a Q&A. We like to do it. We like to be transparent here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing the GQ get built. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming up. This engine is going to have to go on at some point, so we're going to have to get you on the hot glue gun.
Tell us what you think about TDs. That's been every time you mention it in some of our group chats, it's very, you love them or you hate them. There's a lot of
torn to shreds.
Tell us what you guys think.
Yeah, never drop a comment because I think it's
people love them and there must be a reason.
It bolts in. That thing's gonna bolt straight in. It's like it's from a GQ. There's simplicity to it. It's gonna make 3 times the factory power, 4 times the factory torque of the TV.
You're gonna end up as a one engine, 2 cranks.
Alright. Talking like a 4J fan now. Yeah, I am interested. Maybe drop a comment and let us know because I think for the money I wanted to spend and I wanted it to drive like the 80 series used to, I think this is the best option, but it's certainly a lot of money to pour into something from 300 horsepower.
How'd you get it so glossy? I've never seen an engine with so much reflection.
Combined olive oil.
I watched Sam do his hair in the reflection.
Mercury black. That's
not just dirty engine oil.
If you've seen a Mercury outboard that's been rebuilt, chances are it's got that paint. It's TD42 black. It's also good when it has to pass rego. You won't know if it's an oil leak or Mercury black.
It's just Caterpillar yellow.
Yeah, pass. Anyway, you bunch of half-sucked mangoes. If you like this sort of sit-down episode, make sure you let us know in the comments because we've got some little spicy stuff planned, Maybe our new shed's going to have a little bit of a podcast corner set up with a casting couch and a Red Bull fridge full of, Red Bull. Or maybe it's not. See if I care. But if you've liked it, make sure you comment. If you're liking having Max on the channel a little bit more full-time, also let us know.
Prefer me over Sam, let me know.
If you want me to Max off,
change the channel name.
Last Davis 4x4. Doesn't have the same ring. And yeah, as always, subscribe and we'll see you next Thursday.
Oh yeah.